When we go into schools and talk about autism, one of the things we do is we explain autism to young people. And we came up with an idea a few years ago, which was influenced by some of our young people with autism, about how we could explain it and make it make sense to children. So I'm just going to very quickly run through that. So in schools, we take a brain in with us. It's a pretend brain, make that really clear to young people, and a skipping rope as well. And what I do is I stand at the front of the hall, and I usually get 3 young people up to help me who all hold the skipping rope. Okay, so somebody holds it on the left-hand side, somebody holds it in the middle, and somebody holds it on the right. I then go back to talking about the brain. And what I get the children to do is to use their imaginations. And I ask them to think about and imagine that if they took their brains out of their heads. Okay, so again, we're not actually going to do that, but they took their brains out of their heads. Okay, and what I say is that all of their brains would go somewhere on this skipping rope. And what I mean by that is all of our brains and all of us are very, very different. And in the middle is what some young people, or adults as well, might call neurotypical, okay, which I know is a big word, okay, but neurotypical. So somebody who doesn't have autism or any other kind of learning differences. And some people's brains might be slightly to the left or slightly to the right, but just somewhere in that middle. And I say to young people that every single young person will have a talent. Okay, some of you won't know what it is yet, but you'll have a talent. But we can't be good at absolutely everything. We could try our best, but all of our brains work in different ways. So there will be some things that we're better at than others. Then I go to talk in more detail about autism. So I say that actually on one side, if we go down to the left side of the skipping rope where somebody will be standing, I've worked with some young people who have autism before who don't use words to communicate, because that's the way their brains work. But what they might do is they might come and give me a picture, which lets me know what they need or what they would like. Or they might use sign language, or they might find another way to help them communicate with me or to communicate with somebody else. And I make the point that it doesn't mean that they're stupid. It just means that their brain is working a different way. And actually that's quite clever because they've adapted and found different ways. So that's one side, but I also go to the other side of the skipping rope. Okay, so we've done the left, the middle, and now I'm on the right-hand side where another young person will be standing. And what I say here is I've worked with other children who have autism who do use words to communicate, okay? And they can remember lots of different facts maybe about certain things they're interested, and they have lots of other skills and other things that they want to do. But what I say is that sometimes some of these young people might not like loud noise. So they might wear ear defenders, for example, and that's because that really affects their brains, that noise. Or we talk about the fact they might not be like being around lots of people. So actually on the playground, they might surround themselves with a smaller group, or they might like to do quieter activities because, again, their brain is working in a different way. And again, that doesn't make them stupid. It just means that everybody's brain is working so differently. And I give 2 examples as well to show that on one side of the line, I've worked with a young boy who, if I said to him, how do I get from Colchester to Scotland, he'd be able to tell me every single road I needed to take in my car to get there, and not just the main roads, because that's the way his brain works. And if I go to the other side of the line, I talk about a young girl I used to work with who didn't use lots of words to communicate, but used some. And if I said to her, I'm 30 years old, I was born on the 23rd of October in 1991, she'd be able to tell me what day of the week I was born, and she'd be able to do that with any of your birthdays. So the line, and we could use a line, we could use a circle, because it depends on how other people are going to explain it, shows that everybody is different. Not everybody is autistic, but everybody's brain works in different ways. And that's some simple way that we believe you can explain autism to some young people.